Hello and welcome. This is another week and we are back again with another issue of Outlook. I am Ruben Banerjee, the editor of this magazine, and joining me today in this conversation are managing editor Sunil Menon and our reporter Salik Ahmed. Now, as always, we are very proud of this particular issue as we are with every other issue. This time, you will, in this magazine, in this particular issue, you will get to read all the important stories, issues that have been engaging you, and even a few offbeat stories which possibly you have not been aware of generally. And the cover particularly has been, I think it's a very thought-provoking cover. As we all know, Kerala, much of Kerala has been in upheaval in the last few weeks ever since the Supreme Court allowed women to enter the Sabarimala temple. And rightly or wrongly, there have been protests with people saying that tradition is threatened. And so we decided that we will take a one hard look at what is happening in Sabarimala, because we editorially, we all sat down and we felt that whatever that is happening in Kerala isn't confined only to Kerala, will not be confined only to Kerala, because it will have a larger impact. And some of us even felt that maybe it signifies an inflection point in this country, because if a Supreme Court's verdict can be flouted, then we are in for troubled times. Sunil was heavily involved in producing this cover story. As you can see, we are asking, we are okay with triple talaq verdict, we are okay with Shani Shingarpur verdict, we were also okay with Haji Ali verdict, where women were allowed to enter. Why are we not okay with the Sabarimala verdict? Sunil.
That's exactly right. I mean, it's what is quite remarkable here is that an issue that would have been in normal times relegated to a corner of the country has bled into the mainstreams, the main thematic concerns of national politics relating to the constitution, law, in fact even questions of how religion and law must interface with each other. And this relates to a whole series of questions. We have the Ayodhya thing coming up, which Salik will talk about. And there have been a series of judgments earlier on triple talaq, as you just mentioned. And all of them were very contentious. This is almost identical with them in terms of what the court has decided. Despite that, the reaction on the ground has been so different. And a temple that just some decades ago would have been largely unknown across the country now is absolutely center stage. And the politics, of course, all the parties are being very, very opportunistic, and they're entitled to be tactically wise about it. But
this is how our cover package looks like. This is the opening spread, a wonderful picture of Sabarimala. I have not personally visited, but I am told that it's looks awesome and hugely revered, and it's a very detailed story. So Sunil, why this reaction? And I think is it more political now than religious?
Yes. It is of course political, but the political there is it is not just at the level of party politics. Party politics of course plays out at the surface. It helps garner the people on the ground, on the street, protesting and all that. But it is political at a very deep level, at the social level, in the people's imaginations, because at one level it's about tradition changing, and there is always resistance to that. But traditions have always changed. Many traditions, many customary practices related to Sabarimala themselves have changed. But it is on this question about women that a very deep resistance has come. So the general sense is that, it has touched the raw of society at some level, and it relates to taboos relating to ritual purity. And there are reminiscent,
whatever that is happening in Kerala right now with Sabarimala verdict of a woman being allowed to enter by the court, the judiciary, like it can have a ripple effect elsewhere, right?
It can have a ripple effect everywhere, because one of the primary contentions is that, matters of religion, law should not interfere. Law has a certain kind of, there is a line in the sand, and law really cannot adjudicate on matters that are, that emanate from faith. Now we are soon going to end up with, in January the Supreme Court will take up Ayodhya and the title dispute. And the title dispute there is very, very interesting because the deity himself in India, the deity is also a legal person. So Ram Lalla is actually one of the parties to the dispute, and he has a lawyer who is a union minister.
In this issue, we have tried to figure out like what is wrong, like why this upheaval in Kerala, because in other verdicts like Shani Shingarpur, Haji Ali, people were fine with it. But in Sabarimala, things have gone haywire. So we are trying to figure out possibly the sociological reasons, the political reasons, and there are some fantastic columns as well.
That's right.
And also how fake news has been adding fuel to the fire. Some of these news that have been circulated both by TV channels and online media and also print, you must read them to believe that people can really cook up such stories.
Some of the responses even from the central level have been to fake news rather than to real news. So there's been an avalanche of that, and people are nowadays consuming endless amounts of things of very, very shaky provenance on WhatsApp on a daily basis, and it's very difficult to actually bring things back to a certain kind of rational, sane discussion.
So apart from this cover, which I think that is very, very good, very exhaustive, it really tells you what the backstory to all these protests is. We also Salik, in fact, we put him on a train. As you know, the Indian Railways last week flagged off its first Sri Ramayan Express, right? So Salik, you had a great time apparently, though the arrangements were not that good, and they were actually very pathetic. That he told me when he came back. So this is what it is, the train to Hindustan. It's essentially a pilgrimage to all the Ram related pilgrim spots. A great story. So Salik, would you like to talk about it? What did you come across?
The experience was great in terms of learning, but I wouldn't say so in terms of arrangements and facilities. Most of the passengers were senior citizens, so of course the welcome was grand. The passengers were garlanded, the flowers were showered on them. But the coaches, it was a sleeper train, but the coaches also, they were very old, they were worn out.
But story, like people were basically, they were on a pilgrimage, right? Yeah. And they were going to spots, places associated with Lord Ram. So you think that Lord Ram, it still resonates as powerfully as?
Absolutely, it does. So people, when the train started, of course, even before the train started, there were chants of Jai Shri Ram, and there was, on one of the berths, there was a small statue of Lord Ram installed there, and then the people were singing bhajans, the women were singing all through, and it was, the air was imbued with faith. So
what Salik has done, he's done a fantastic travelogue, capturing the color, the mood, the inconveniences, and of course the way possibly the Indian Railways.
The Ramayana story itself, it's very striking how it's so much related to, because of the Vanvas part of the story, it's so much related to geography, and claims are made about geography. There is travel is inherent, and lot of names which now we find on the Indian landscape, and the association with Sri Lanka, which is sometimes disputed, very often disputed in fact. But there is a kind of a mapping out of the myth onto what is a real, and pilgrim tourism is going to be very big. Sri Lanka is already like encashing on it.
Great story to read, great visuals, and I would like to believe that we have brought out a power-packed issue, great bouquet of variety of stories. Like from the northeast front of the book, we have a story on how Alpha, the United Liberation Front of Assam, has been reviving. Apparently a lot of youngsters are joining Alpha. It's quite surprising and quite alarming too.
It's a very strange kind of turn it has taken, because after the NRC, and the thing seems to have backfired spectacularly.
Apparently there is a sense of insecurity because of NRC, and that is why indigenous Assamese are again heading towards
we're talking about the citizenship bill, so which sort of takes it away from a religious thing, and takes it away from an ethnic thing, and says any Hindu from another country can also be a refugee in India and will be accepted. That has actually not gone down well at all, because the fight there is actually deeply ethnic, and that is one of the reasons why you see this reaction.
There are other good interesting stories as well. Apart from our regular features, we have a book excerpt of Devdutt Pattanaik, his new book, where he pitches Ramayana. It's essentially Ramayana versus Mahabharata, worth picking it up. We have a very good sports story, how women boxers in this country are punching their way through and to the top, literally. And we have other stories, interesting stories from the states, which normally you don't get to read in other newspapers and magazines. We have a story on a man who has been in jail in the eastern state of Orissa for exactly a month now, primarily because the local chief minister there has had a problem, a dispute with another politician. It's Abhijit Iyer Mitra, who has been in jail for the past 1 month over satirical tweets. Yes. India, of course, can be sometimes a very dangerous place to live in.
And to speak in.
And we have interviews, other interviews, political, as we know that 5 states of this country are in the process of going to elections. We have an interview with the Congress leader Kamal Nath, Madhya Pradesh, and we have quite a few of other stories. So overall, as always, it's a very power-packed issue. Please pick up your copy of Outlook, and we would look forward to your feedback. See you again next week. Thank you.